I cheated on my husband, but I don't think he should leave me because I'm a great wife. My husband is a real estate agent who works multiple hours and spends much of his time out. During October 2020, a guy named Jay messaged me on Instagram. We chatted in a decent way. Turns out he's the younger brother of a classmate with whom I attended high school. We chatted for 7 months and we met for the first time. Soon after, we began to have an emotional affair which later turned physical. Despite knowing I had a family, I convinced myself that I was right. That it isn't serious and should be okay. Needless to say, I was denying my husband any cuddling or romances. We were more like roommates at this point. We just basically slept on the same bed, we didn't talk much. He was struggling at his job. I still thought it was all okay, and my husband would be happy that I found someone to satisfy me while he was working, and it wasn't an issue. I used to taunt my husband, argue with him over small reasons. I used to absolutely despise him, as Jay was much more fit and handsome than him. Jay began to think I settled for less even after I had a family and a good marriage. A few months later, my husband's mother passed away and he broke down in a bad way. He began to argue with me more, blaming me for his mom's death, that I was what kept him from meeting his mom and I must be happy now that she's gone. Me and his mom never got along in fairness. While he was going through his mother's passing, I didn't support him emotionally. I shouted at him. I didn't realize the impact it had on our daughter. I told him in August I wanted a divorce. That further broke him down. I rented out a small apartment and moved out, taking my daughter with me. I told her I didn't want her near her father as he was having a mental breakdown and becoming emotionally abusive. Jay sometimes used to visit us. I introduced her to my daughter. They became friends due to similar gaming mentality. Things took the worst turn possible a month later. Jay tried to make a move on my daughter and turned out to be a child lover. She barely got out and called her father. I was working in the office then. She tried to reach out but couldn't due to my phone being on silent mode. When I saw her calls, I rushed to my home to find it filled with police and people. Jay was rushed to the hospital with a broken arm, broken jaw and swollen eyes. My daughter told everything to the police. Her eyes were red and she had been crying. I tried to console her but she pushed me away. As my daughter was the victim and my husband had friends in the department, no charges were pressed against him. After everything calmed down for a bit that evening, my husband reached out to me with my daughter asking for the truth. I gave him the truth then. I apologized, begged, cried for him, told him this was the worst mistake and I never thought for things to turn out this way. What hurt more is my daughter telling me I was a homewrecker. Husband said he's going to take our daughter with him and we will be getting divorced. He's pushing for full custody and filing a fresh paperwork for divorce on grounds of infidelity. I told him I want to work on our marriage. Beg him. I want a chance. He isn't listening to me. I cut off all contact with Jay. October 2nd, Jay's girlfriend contacts me and types out all the worst names you can imagine on earth. After that day, I started to work on my marriage. I tried reaching out to my husband, he blocked me on everything, even has a new phone number. I began individual counseling, reading books and trying to come clean about everything. I had a chat with my daughter. She doesn't want to call. I told her everything. Told her I was sorry and all I want now is just a happy family and I'd gladly give up everything to make it work. She tells me I'm selfish and that I would have kept her father in the dark only to get back with Jay and thanked me for breaking up the happy family and home she has known of.